Hello, welcome to Geekyhijynx, home of the Mischief Makers, and today we're looking at the fear of rain. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my 2D point reviews. These are where I keep my reviews short, sweet, and to the point. So what is the fear of rain about exactly? Let's get stuck in. So the film, directed by Castle Landon, is about a girl living with schizophrenia struggling with terrifying hallucinations as she begins to suspect her neighbour has kidnapped a child. The only person who believes her is Caleb, a boy she isn't even sure exists. So straight away this movie reminded me of the movie Rear Window. And the reason why I pronounced it Rear Window is I sometimes struggle with my R's. So that was a massive mission for me to pronounce Rear Window. Yay! And that's a great film, by the way. If you haven't checked it out, it's by Alfred Hitchcock starring Jimmy Stewart. Really good film. I've only seen it once and enjoyed it. Really good. And those put off by, oh, it's an old film. Shame on you. It's great. Go check it out straight away. Then watch this and you can sort of see the similarities. Also, there's twists in this film, and I guessed a big one straight away. Within like 5-10 minutes, I knew straight away what was going on, and the movie tried to be smart, throw some curveballs, weren't going to work with me, and when I figured it out, I was just doing this the whole time. I was like, yes, Joe, you've done it again. Your film brain knows no bounds. And also going into this film, I was like, oh, Katherine Heigl was in this, and nothing against her as a person, but yeah, she just has that look, and she has a reputation which you probably don't know about, or you may know. But yeah, she kind of bashes any film, that, like especially when she first started out in her career, like Knocked Up. She just bashed them, and she has that look on her face that she just thinks she's better than people. That's just my opinion. But whenever she's in anything, you can just get the sense that she thinks she's too good for the film she's in. So it was kind of a put off going into this, but she weren't too bad. Let's start with the first thing I liked about the movie, starting with the characters and the acting. And the acting across the board was so good. That's probably the best part of the film in my opinion. Now I'm going to refer to my handy dandy notebook because I can't remember people's names for crap, especially if they're not like Will Smith or Emma Stone or blah blah blah. Like I need to refer to my little book. So we'll start with Madison Iceman, who played the titular character Rain. I thought she'd done an excellent job. And the thing with her character, initially I was like, I know you from somewhere. Where do I recognise you from? It was racking my mind. I was like, you've got a really familiar face. And I realised, oh yeah, you've been in Jumanji as well as other things. But it was Jumanji I recognised her from. And for me, it was really surprising because in Jumanji, in my opinion, she's the weakest part of the film. She's the least funny, she's the least engaging, the least character you liked, and she was barely in the second one. The second one was alright. The first one was much better. But she played this role so well. Like you could believe she had schizophrenia. Obviously did our research before going into this role to how to act, the kind of things you would say, your body movements, what you're doing with your hands, eye movements. She was great. A really likeable character as well. Even when you're sort of doubting her mentality, is she seeing things, is she not seeing things, she's never a bad character and you're always on her side. So I think she's done an excellent job. Now Caleb, who is playing her friend, I liked his character, you know, and I knew her straight away. I was like, you're the dude from Happy Death Day. And he, similar role to that, like the friend of the person that's kind of in a sticky situation. So in Happy Death Day, she was dying over and over again. And then she came to him and he was trying to help her out. And in this same sort of thing, she thinks her neighbour, I'm going to get onto the neighbour in a second, but she goes to him saying the neighbour's kidnapped the child. And she's really on her side because he's new in town. But then, like I mentioned in the synopsis, she's doubting even if he's even real. And that's kind of a negative thing, which I'm going to get on later to my issues. But his character was cool. Like, he seemed very sincere, very likeable, and when them two are on screen, they had very good chemistry. Third character, Katherine Heigl, she mainly played the mum. And like I said, she done her job, she was there. Anyone could have really played this role. What was hilarious to me was her name got top billing. So above Madison, it was Katherine Heigl. I'm like, really? I know you're a bigger name, but you're not the star of the film. So what are you doing as the main role? But you know what I mean. But her character was alright. Done the job. Could have got any actress to do this role really. Didn't need Katherine Heigl. She didn't bring anything like extra to this role. But she was like a nice character to Rain. Supportive, there for her. And like that, being that sort of light at the end of the tunnel. Now we come to Harry Connick Jr.'s character, the dad. He may have a name, but let's just call him the dad of Rain. And his face drove me nuts the most because I was like, I know you from somewhere. Where have I seen you before? At first glance, I thought he was Detective Strom from the Saw movies because he looks just like it at an angle. And then as you see his face more, you're like, oh, you're not him. But then, who are you? I recognise your face. And when I finished the film and I looked him up, I was like, oh, I failed. Independence Day, he was like Will Smith's partner in the Air Force, the one that got killed in the canyon. I was like, oh, that's where your face is from. And I looked at other things he's been in, and I was like, huh, wasn't he a piano player at one point, years ago? But yeah, I kind of thought that Independence Day was his one film, and yeah, no, he was done. But he was a good character. Very, very extreme at times. Like, one minute he's like, really understanding dad, there for Rain, there that wants the best for her, wants the best for his daughter. And the next he's like, Hadouken! So literally, I can't tell what his character's motives are sometimes. Bit extreme, but I liked him as an actor. I thought he'd done good in this film as well. Now, the neighbour's character, the one that Rain thinks is kidnapping the child. So the neighbour's basically Rain's teacher and her neighbour. So there's a bit of conflict there. So when she's at school, the teacher's like, feels threatened that she's going to have her career ruined by the potential lie. I'm not going to say if it is or not. And Rain's trying to investigate to make sure that she's not going crazy, that there is a child in her neighbour's house, because her neighbour hasn't got any children. And this child clearly is on a missing board. Rain goes on the internet, looks her up, and the girl she thinks she's seeing is also missing online. But again, who knows if it's real or not. But the neighbour looked just like Coraline's mum, the evil mum from the film Coraline. And I couldn't get out of my head. It literally, if they were doing a live action film of Coraline, they should hire that lady. I liked how they represented schizophrenia, because there's this whole thing with schizophrenia that it's like multiple personality disorders, like the film Split. But that's what that Split is about. Multiple personality disorders. He hasn't got schizophrenia. And the main form of schizophrenia is hallucinations, seeing or hearing things. So that's what I'm going for in this film. So I think that was good to show people that it's more than just what people think it could be, like you've seen in tons of films before. But again, I think they portray that really well, especially with the visions when which leads me on to another good part of the film, the horror moments. So Brain sees really weird things like hands wrapped around her body, or like moldy, like damp ceilings falling apart, or she's having hallucinations that she's in this field and seeing herself in the mirror talking to her, or in a painting like screaming at her. And you're trying to work out, that's her mentality. So you're trying to work out what's real, what's not. Obviously she's really struggling with this condition. But another cool thing about it that I did like was that she had this little checklist in her head. So if she saw something that she thought was like, this isn't real, she would ask herself like these 3 questions, but you'd see it written out in like this really good calligraphy. It has to be said. But she was like, is this real? Can anyone else see this? And there's another one, but she's basically trying to make sure that what she can see, other people can see too, so she knows it's not a vision. So this isn't really a horror film at all, it's more of a thriller. It has some like suspenseful, edge of your seat moments, but I'll be honest with you, maybe one near the end, like in the teacher's basement when she's investigating more. And even then, I wasn't like gripped or like, I was just like, well, this is alright film. Rear Window, in my opinion, was way more suspenseful, especially like when near the end of that film, I was like crapping myself for the guy. And I go into the issues of the film I had. Now the main issue was the ending. My God, did that rush by. Went by way too quick. The film went at a steady pace-ish. Some really dull parts, I'm not going to lie. But in the most part, it was alright. It just passed through nicely. The ending, were they in a rush? I was so confused, because the rush kind of makes you think like what you're seeing is also an hallucination, because of how fast it goes by. Almost like a dream where you go from one sequence to the next and you can't remember how you actually got from one to the other. But it wasn't. It was actually what happened. And I was like, oh my, what's this? Other issues I had with the film is that it was fairly predictable. I didn't actually struggle to guess anything in the film. In fact, I guessed every single thing in the film, like I mentioned earlier. The twists they think they're being clever with aren't clever at all, because so many movies have done this. And as soon as you start to see certain scenes or how characters act with each other, you can't really get fooled anymore. Also, the ideas of the movie weren't fully realised. They should have just stuck to the simple. Neighbour, has she kidnapped someone? Caleb, is he real? Your hallucinations, they're interfering with both. And then maybe have a few parent scenes, but keep it like that. But they tried to do too much in this film instead of just focusing on the synopsis. And they didn't. And because they veered too much away from it, things fell flat. And primarily Caleb, is he real? I'm not going to spoil this film, but the film doesn't give you enough info or pull the wool over your eyes to make you think anything otherwise. So like I said, the film didn't have any twists and was fairly predictable. So had they just stuck to a few little things, so they were trying to get everything in this film, it'd have been much better. So overall, this film's okay, it's good. Worth a watch, definitely. The best part of the film for me is the acting and the characters. Madison, who plays Rain, really, really good. Can't wait to see her more in the future. Really like good potential actress in other things. The other characters are good too. And Caleb, he'd like the actor who played him, he did good too. But in regards to the premise, good idea. When you read the synopsis, sounds really interesting, but not fully realised that the film couldn't pick a direction it wanted to go in, and as a result, it kind of floundered and made this film in the end quite forgettable. So on that note, I'm going to give this film a bronze, a dolphin, and a one-time spin because it's okay. It's forgettable though, and only worth watching the once. So guys, that was my 2D point review of... Oh my goodness me. Thank you. So guys, that was my 2D point review of The Fear of Rain. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was the film a snooze fest or the greatest film you've ever seen? Come back to the comments to let me know because I am interested. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to drop me those likes because it does help me out. But until next time, stay out of trouble.